Hey guys, so all of a sudden, like literally right after I set this up to go live and have a chat with you, this weird lighting thing happened. I'm sitting out on the back deck and the sun's been coming up for a while now, but then all of a sudden it's like shining right through the trees and you can see like the tree shadows on me. How cool is that? Anyway, this is like one of the random reasons I don't go live very often, besides the fact that there's random background noise you can't control. The lighting totally changed on me. Like I said, I've got like the shadows of the trees are all over me now. It's like a disco party. And I'm still in my pajamas and I'm showered. My hair's a little bit wild today. Um, but like, I have to get showered and get ready. I have a business meeting this morning. I have to be on live video in a while, but I'm really struggling. I've been up since 3:30 this morning and I haven't eaten yet. My time it's 7:30, so that's not so bad. 4 hours, right? I mean, I don't generally eat first thing in the morning anyway, but this is not just a problem this morning, and I'm so sorry for this whole like tree thing that's going on. I'll try to get out of that weird lighting. The sun will move in a second. Anyway, apologies for the pajamas thing, but I am really struggling, and I wanted to just kind of have this conversation with you, candidly, unscripted, and the only way that was going to happen is if I just flipped the camera on as I am and went for it. So I've been struggling all week, actually, and like wanting to eat off plan, but I can't think of anything that actually sounds good enough to eat off plan, right? But for some reason, it's a mental thing. I don't have any cravings. I'm in ketosis, etc. So yesterday I was like really struggling, and I'll get to the point of why I think why, because you have to unravel what's going on in your head. A lot of times it's as tricky as unraveling what's going on with your health metabolically, right? Hi, Gail. So anyway, yesterday I was having this feeling. So I was all set. Like I threw my shoes on and everything, and I was going to run to town and just grab something, anything. But again, I went around and around in my head for like an hour, and I couldn't think of any single thing that sounded good enough to knock myself out of ketosis for. Although, to be honest with you, I give myself full permission to do that, and I think that really helps a lot. I say to myself, if you want something, have it. Knowing the consequences for you personally. Like for me personally, the consequences are chronic pain, stomach upset, keto flu, bloating. I mean, there's a lot of consequences. So, but I say to myself, fully knowing all the consequences, if you want something, have it. And generally I will only do that if I know I'm going to be home for at least 4 days. Like not going anywhere, not having to be anywhere, not having to show up and be seen, because I will bloat and be miserable. And need to be home to recover if I eat off plan. So it's a big deal for me to decide to do that. Just FYI, it's not that big a deal for everybody. There's this talk too about people say, you can like ease in and out of ketosis, or they don't have any keto flu, or I've heard people say that they're so adapted. Like I've been eating keto for 8.5 years. So you would think that I could just, go in and out of keto or ketosis without, any symptoms, but I can't. And that may be a metabolic thing, a bioindividuality thing, simply because I stay in nutritional ketosis for health reasons, to stay out of chronic pain. Look, I told you the shadow thing would quit. Now it moved over to my mandibulas. Anyway, so it's different. I don't know if it's a difference between men and women, because the only person I've ever heard, there's been very few women I've ever heard say that they could be fat adapted and carb adapted, that they could switch back and forth between sugar and sugar and fat as far as fuel. One of those women doesn't have children and isn't premenopause or perimenopause or in a menopausal state at all. So she's younger and doesn't have children. The only other people I've ever heard say that are men. So I don't know, hormonally speaking, if most women can't float in and out of ketosis easily, unless maybe it's, pre-children or people who haven't had children or whatever. I'm not really sure. That's a good question. Who knows? I just know for myself personally, there's a lot of consequences. Now, Cheryl says, give yourself permission. Love that. And I do give myself full permission, however, with full knowledge of and embracing the consequences. But here's the thing. I can't think of anything that tastes good enough or that would be satisfying enough to be worth it. But I want to get to the root of why I feel that way, because it's less about, like, hey, if you want something, have it, right? Like if you just want it. That would be one thing, but why do I want it? And I think that's the question we all need to ask ourselves before we say, I'm going to treat myself, or I'm going to give myself permission to eat off plan. Know your why. Know your why. I'm big on that in every facet of my life. Know your why. Know your objective. Because when you drill down to your why, that's when you really get into your psyche, into how your brain works and how you're self-sabotaging yourself, or what damage you're doing to yourself or whatever, or not, but you need to know your why. So anyway, yesterday was a hard day. This morning already is. So I just haven't eaten anything. Nothing sounds good. Nothing keto, nothing non-keto. And like if I thought, like I could go to Burger King and order anything off the menu and it would actually be good to me and worth the consequences, I would just do it. But I can't, I'm struggling with this. So yesterday I made eggs, cheesy eggs, and this is one of the reasons I end up eating cheesy eggs so often. Yesterday I made cheesy eggs and I just pretended it was a cheeseburger with french fries and Ben & Jerry's ice cream. Because I obviously have an amazing imagination. Obviously. And I was not hungry anymore after I ate that, which was good. And then I had some Mammoth Creamery's vanilla bean ice cream with some strawberry lime nut butter on top for dinner. So I had the eggs for lunch and I had the ice cream for dinner, which I don't eat sweets or desserts. So if I'm going to eat something like Mammoth Creamery's low carb ice cream, I eat it for dinner, which is really good because it's like heavy cream, cage-free eggs, all that kind of stuff. So it's good, solid food. Haley said I have these same struggles. So for me personally, I'm still examining this, and I'm talking openly with you without having any of the answers yet, so I apologize for that. But I'm struggling with this because I don't know if it's like if I'm upset or sad about something, like subconsciously, that I'm not really pinpointing, because it's been such a busy week. It's like it's been a non-stop go week, and I'm running racing deadlines, like etc. But something in the back of my mind is bothering me, and so I don't know if it's part of that. And I've overcome a lot of eating disorders, like emotional eating, stress eating, treating myself, which was actually disguised as self-sabotage, etc. The other issue I'm dealing with right now is I'm back down in the 130s, which historically speaking, anytime I dip below 140, I self-sabotage. And the weird thing is, like, I can eat on plan, super strict, if I'm 140.2 or if I'm 142 or whatever, because I want to get down below 140. But the minute I do, I start having this struggle, which is the weirdest thing. So it's definitely self-sabotage, which is ridiculous. Like, why do you work so hard for something and want something and push yourself to make that happen, and then as soon as that happens, you freak out and back up? Why? Like, who wired our brains like this? Cheryl said, I went to Europe last week and did my best to stay keto, but I did give myself permission to try new things. I enjoyed myself and came home still in ketosis. And I think that's totally fine. That's different, like if I were in a place where it was the specialty or whatever. Like I would love to test the pasta in Italy, because it's totally different as far as glycemic index than the pasta in the US. So I would be interested, just out of curiosity, to blood test it and see, how it impacts my blood sugar and things like that. I mean, I'm fascinated with things like that. So stuff like that is not a big deal, because that's permission-based. I'm in Europe, or I'm in a new place, or this is a once in a lifetime opportunity to try this particular dish in its locale or whatever, and that's all fine and good. I don't have a problem with that. However, when I'm on vacation or when I'm traveling, for me personally, I have to make sure I stay in ketosis to stay on my feet because I have the chronic pain issue. So anyway, what I'm finding, and I think this is as not good as self-sabotage or as emotional eating. And this has been the case for a while now, ever since I overcame overeating or binge eating, which was a huge problem for me forever. I don't binge eat anymore at all. So I overcame that. But I replaced that with, when I get upset or when I feel unsure, I just don't eat. And not eating, in my opinion, is as much an eating disorder as binge eating. So it's a matter of using food as a means of control, or using food as some kind of a lever in your emotional life in any way at all. And this bothers me so much, so I've been up, like I said, for a little over 4 hours now. I am getting hungry. I am hungry now, and I don't eat when I'm not hungry, by the way. I don't ever force myself to eat. However, this goes back into a question somebody asked me on Instagram the other day about fasting. They said, what are your thoughts on fasting? It's so popular now. And I'll tell you two things. I don't fast intentionally, but I don't eat when I'm not hungry. I feel like restricting or controlling food as a means of, losing weight or anything else is a borderline eating disorder. The other thing is, I'm watching with fascination all of the people who are doing extended fasts around the web, so on Instagram and various other places, and there's two things associated with it more often than not. Some people are doing it for medical reasons, which is totally fine. Most people are doing it and it's attached to ego. How long can I go? And that's all they like. If you post your food, they'll post, I'm fast. And I'll say, what are you having? They'll say, I'm fasting. So it's a matter of, they have to say it, like, I'm fasting. Or when they post their food, they'll be like, I broke a 32-hour fast with this meal. So, I mean, if you're gonna fast, but if it were religious fasting, it would be kind of against the spiritual, thing to talk about that you are doing it. Am I right? I mean, for those of you who know about spiritual or religious fasting, it's meant to be private. It's meant to be personal. And so bragging about it is, I got a pecan tree. Bragging about it is, means that you're not doing it for the right reasons. So there's that one factor in fasting that bothers me, is that it's more of an ego trip. How long can I go without food? The second part is that I see people getting extremely obsessive and upset about it. So I've seen people post, I couldn't make it through my 16-hour fast. I feel like such a failure. That is not a good mindset. That's a dieting mindset. And starving yourself to lose weight, is an eating disorder, I think. And so I'm not saying fasting is bad. I'm not saying there aren't health benefits. Medical fasting, spiritual fasting, there is nothing new about that. But this whole wave of, extended fasting without any medical supervision, without, doing any, real testing or anything like that, I think is, something important to consider. Why, again, go back to, what is your why? Know your why. Why are you doing this to yourself? And if the answer is not an immediate, I know exactly why I'm doing it, or you're not really sure the answer is truth, like, are you fooling yourself? Then really question that, really dig deep about that. As for me, I'm struggling. I'm eating plenty of calories, so don't worry or anything like that. I'm managing to eat. Like yesterday, I made 5 eggs with cheese in real butter. I had some macadamia nut butter. I had one of those perfect keto bars, which I love. And I also had the Mammoth Creamery's ice cream with strawberry lime nut butter. She also said, I'm so glad you're sharing about this. Yeah, it's just my personal thoughts this morning, unshowered, in the weird, I've got the weird tree like thing going on again. It's moving all over the place. Is that not fun? Anyway, I'm trying to dig down and just I'm powering through it. You know, like I said, have given myself full permission to, you know, eat something if I feel like I want it, because nutrition is more important than weight loss when it comes down to it. If you're not diabetic, or metabolically speaking, you don't have to stay in ketosis, and you get the stomach flu, or you get, you know, something horrifically, you know, bad, and you feel like, you know, I need carrots, or I need this or that or whatever, just have it. You know, that's always been my thing, and then get right back on track when you feel better. However, for me personally, it adds to being sicker. It makes me feel worse. So for some people, like diabetics, or people with fibromyalgia or inflammatory arthritis, that's me. And at my age, that sucks. It started in my early 30s, and I was bedridden on pain medication, in physical therapy 2 to 3 times a week. It was bad. I couldn't even lift my coffee cup to my mouth most days. And I love my coffee. So I don't like being in that kind of pain, and I wouldn't add that to it on purpose. But not eating, again, in my opinion, is as bad as binge eating in terms of how do I deal with stress or anxiety or feelings, you know, or whatever. So I'm trying to decide what to eat this morning. I can't, and I have everything. I have the new pumpkin spice granola from Lolly's. I think I have a keto bar left. Those are always good to get me by. I have some macadamia nut butters. I love those in a pinch, because they'll just satisfy me, and then I don't have to worry about it anymore. But so long as I sit here hungry, it's going to just bug the out of me. How do you guys handle it or deal with it when it's not a real craving because you're in ketosis? It's not a real desire. It's a mental thing. Like, how do you guys deal with that? I'm just curious, you know, do you just go with it? Do you just live on a whim? Do you just do whatever your mind says, you know, or whatever? And if so, does that not like sabotage your efforts to be your happiest, healthiest self? Because that's, you know, my main concern. Like, is afterwards, how do you feel? That's another thing, another one of the consequences I didn't mention before when I was talking about the list of consequences to eating off plan, just because you feel like it or whatever, is, are you going to feel like crap afterwards? Are you going to feel food guilt? Because I personally think food guilt is more unhealthy than any food you could ever eat. You know, if you're going to feel guilty for eating it, if you're going to feel like crap, if you're going to punish yourself, if you're going to, oh, I'm going to fast for 2 days because I ate a cheeseburger, or I'm going on an egg fast for 5 days now. Ugh. I can't even imagine eating eggs for 5 days. But, I mean, kudos to you that can. But I'm just saying, are you going to go into this whole, like, self-disgust, self-punishment mode? And if so, that's not worth it. Just make something, you know, that's similar. So let's say if I was craving donuts, I would just eat some low-carb oven cakes, because they're just like donuts to me, and they're low-carb. If I'm craving muffins, I can just make some low-carb blueberry muffins. There's not much anymore that you can't replicate. That's actually really good, a really good replacement. So, oh, I gotta see more on here. Hey, Angela. I'm so sorry I'm still in my pajamas. Angela said, I'm still on the struggle bus with the whole mental aspect, and yes, I do feel guilty and like poo when I eat badly. Yeah, don't do that. That's the number one reason. So that's how I finally discovered that I was doing self-sabotage. It wasn't about how I felt beforehand, because beforehand I was like, I'm treating myself. I deserve this, blah, blah, blah. All the lies you tell yourself. Your headspace is not to be trusted. Your mind can rationalize anything in its favor. So never trust your headspace or what you're thinking or whatever. Think about, like, go back to the last experience, how you felt afterward, and there's your truth, in my opinion. So I was going through the same thing. I would be like, I've lost 7 pounds, I deserve a break, or, you know, I've been really good and, you know, one little meal won't hurt, or, you know, you rationalize it in your favor however you want to. Your brain will do that. That's the mind for you. That's what's wrong with our legal system. You can, you know, you can rationalize an innocent man guilty and vice versa. And anyway, so, but ask yourself, how will I feel afterward and why? Know your why. Are you going to feel like crap? Are you going to be mad at yourself? Are you going to be disgusted with yourself? Are you going to punish yourself? In which case, ask yourself then, is this entire cycle one of self-sabotage? And that's exactly where I'm at right now in terms of, you know, feeling that way. And so now, here we've got this fun lighting thing going on again. How trippy is that? The sun's playing with me this morning. Sorry. This was totally unscripted, not a very good situation. Anyway, so again, if you tuned in late, this happens to me, historically speaking, when I get down in the 130s. And that may be, you know, way skinny on some people. It may be, you know, overweight for other people. It's not about the number. It's about how it feels on me personally. And I know there's mental triggers with this weight range for me. You know, I know twice in the past that I've, you know, had a heartbreak in my 130s. That's like a weight, not an age. Do you know what I mean? Like, so there's some subconscious attachment to this particular space. Another thing is, when the very first time I reached and stayed in the 130 range for an extended period of time, I made and lost a best friend, which was absolutely heartbreaking, more so than any man could ever break my heart, because you know how best friends are. They're like the everything in your world. I don't know if there's, so I'm exploring that. Are there mental attachments? Are there subconscious reasons why I work so hard to get below 140, and then the minute I do, it's like cheeseburger, peach cobbler. Sorry if those are triggers. But then I can't want it because I don't have any real true cravings because I'm in ketosis. So I just keep on keeping on. Hi, Andrea or Andrea? I hope I'm pronouncing it right, one way or the other. Good morning to everybody. So again, apologies for this fun lighting. I'm actually enjoying it. It's a lot of fun. And my pajamas and my crazy hair. What to eat? Is that not the perpetual question? Fortunately, in ketosis, you don't have to eat as often and you don't have cravings, so food is just fuel. It's not like, oh, food is life. You know, like before when I was an emotional eater, it was like food was my everything, right? So that's one of the great benefits is I can go in there and grab one of my F-bombs and have a macadamia nut butter, and I'm going to be completely satisfied and get to work. Speaking of, I'm going to get in the shower soon because I have a video meeting today that I don't want to show up in my pajamas for, probably. And so, and that's what I should probably go do. And then my food diaries get really boring because I am having a nut butter packet, and then I'll finally have some eggs, and I'm really just not, you know, eating anything too exciting. Except when I went out with my friend. Did you see that amazing ribeye that I had? I ate the whole thing, 16 ounces of fatty ribeye, all of the green beans, and a whole bowl full of raw baby spinach dipped in ranch. It was so amazingly good. So if I go out and someone puts a plate of good, healthy, ketogenic food in front of me, I'm going to wipe it out, you know? So that's probably what I need to do. I need to go across town later today or this evening and just order my favorite Delmonico ribeye or the smothered chicken or something. It's such a small town. My options are extremely limited. Cheryl said, I like your simple food diaries. Yeah, simple is good, though. It doesn't have to be complex and complicated, you know, and all that kind of stuff. Even if you're cooking for a family, you know, so just make a meat and a green, and then you can make a starchy side. Like when my kids lived at home, that's what I did. So they love crab legs, my crab legs especially. So I would make crab legs and steamed broccoli, which my kids liked broccoli. I would make a big thing of Caesar salad, and I would put all the spread on the side. So Parmesan, croutons, dressings, all that on the side, and everybody just kind of make your own salad. So for me, I just have, romaine lettuce, dressing, and Parmesan. The kids would put croutons on theirs. Anyway, so I'd make crab legs and steamed broccoli, and then I would make garlic bread or baked potatoes, which only takes a minute in the microwave or oven, right, for the kids, and especially if I had a bigger crowd. And I'd be plenty content. Everybody would love the meal. And it's the same way you can bake chicken thighs, right? And then just bake chicken thighs and make yourself a green vegetable. So you might make baked chicken thighs and roasted vegetables, and then you might do a potato dish or something for the rest of the family to add to that if they prefer those types of things. And then you just always just make plenty of meat and greens with the other stuff available. Deborah said one of the most important things I've learned from you is understanding the why. Once I got that, everything became so much easier. You are always so real. Yeah, I know your why. That's the biggest part, because you guys, the weight loss is the easy part. It's the headspace that's the struggle. To be honest with you, I wish somebody had told me that 8.5 years ago. Because if you get your head right, that your body has no choice but to follow suit. So it's not about, oh, did I lose 0.2 pounds today or 1.3 pounds this week, or you're so focused on the weight loss that you are not, getting to this happy, healthy version of yourself in your headspace. And you can get skinny fat, which is basically lose all your weight and gain no muscle. And I got there, and it doesn't look pretty, in my 40s especially. I am 46 now, I think. Anyway, but then you're still an emotional eater, a binge eater, struggling with eating disorders, struggling with your relationship with food, with self-sabotage, so you need to address those things first. Just go ahead and just screw weight loss. Like, just forget that as a goal. And the goal, like what I had to do to get off the roller coaster, and we're talking in, out, off, on, up, down, losing and gaining the same freaking 20 pounds over and over and over. If you count how many times I lost and gained that 20 pounds, I probably lost 400 pounds. It's ridiculous what we do to ourselves. However, what was the point I was going to make? Oh, one day I finally had to decide. I stepped on the scales and I was mad at the scales. As if they care. Like, they don't have feelings. They don't care what I think or whatever. But I was mad at the scales, and I stepped off the scales, and normally my initial response is, I'll show you. Like, well, if the scales are not going to move anyway, or if this is not working anyway, I'll just eat whatever I want, and I would go off on another binge. However, one day, I stepped on the scale and didn't like what it had to say, and I stepped off and I looked down at the scale and I said, today, I'm eating for my health. I don't care what you have to say. And from that point forward, I repeated that every morning. I stepped on the scale and said, today, I'm eating for my health. I'd step on the scale and it would show weight loss, and I would be like, that's good, that's okay, I'm still eating for my health today. And it stuck after a while. Like, the things you repeat to yourself stick, it stuck after a while. And of course, that's how I got to my goal weight, by ignoring my weight loss goals, of all things, as backward as that sounds, and just focusing on mindset, nutrition, am I really hungry? Eat. If I'm not hungry, don't eat. And making sure I was eating within my macros, super low carb, staying in ketosis, and eating for my health. So I will say that I was really struggling this morning, and hopping on here and having this conversation with you guys, and your feedback has helped me a lot. I actually feel like eating now. So thank you. I'm going to go in. I'm just going to have a nut butter packet and get on with my day. And then I think I'll go out later and have some smothered chicken, roasted vegetables, and all that kind of good stuff. Andrea said your strawberry cottage cheese and pecan recipe is one of my favorites. I love that. And I'd like to have it again. I'm not eating whole nuts much lately. Just still with the gut health issue. I haven't clean tested those as a reintroduction yet. But I have kind of switched that out for something similar, which is yogurt and nut butter mixed together with, and I like the yogurt and low carb granola and berries. So it's a similar thing, you know, as the nuts and cottage cheese and berries. I'm just doing yogurt instead because of the gut health issues. So, but that's a good swap out. Cheryl said, have a great day. You too. I really appreciate you guys. Thanks for popping on live and just kind of, you know, jiving with me a little bit in this weird light. I'm still tripping over the way the sun's coming through. I'm going to have a bite to eat. I'm going to get ready for work. I'm going to power on and get through my day. And I think I'm going to treat myself to a really good, healthy, low-carb meal. Anyway, I was thinking about hopping on and doing some, like, reading out of the new Keto book. It's my other post that I posted before this on my page. It's Keto Answers, I think is the name of it. Why my brain's not working. Anyway, it's an interesting book, and I like the way it's laid out, and I thought I would just pop on and just kind of flip through it and read through it, maybe over the weekend off and on, and we could kind of have some open discussions about that. Where do I get the nut butter? There's a couple that I like, but one that I eat pretty much all the time that's super clean, and I will come back and give you a link because I have a special deal for it right now. I always have coupon codes, so don't hesitate to ask. And the other thing I want to say too is don't ever hesitate to leave a comment or ask me a question or message me or whatever if you think I might have a coupon code or a discount, or if you want to know what my recommendation is. It does not bother me at all. I would prefer you to do that than to waste money or whatever. So don't hesitate, like I said, to reach out, send me a DM on Instagram, send me a Facebook message, leave me a comment or whatever. And if I miss your comment for some reason, just message me. I'm located in Tennessee. I'm in Middle Tennessee, and the trees and sun are playing fun with me this morning. I'm located in Middle Tennessee, but I travel all over. Karen said, I'm new here. What you're saying makes sense. Did you make a cookbook? I don't cook. It would be the non-cookbook, which I am working on a couple of those. But how fun would that be? The non-cookbook. From the one woman with a low-carb blog that doesn't cook. I cook sometimes. I make eggs. Anyway, I rarely ever cook. I eat super simple. But I think it would be good to do the super simple meals, you know, the non-cookbook for the days you don't feel like cooking. So you could put that on the shelf with all of your keto cookbooks, and the days you don't feel like cooking, you just pull that one out, flip through it. That would be a lot of fun. So let's work on getting me a book deal. We'll work on that. What else did I want to share with you guys? I feel much better. Thank you for being here. I think sometimes when you're sitting at home alone, or when you're the only one doing keto and you're alone in your head about it or whatever, I think sometimes it's really easy to let it get bigger in your head than it really is. And so I appreciate our community so much for that, you know, because we can always pop on, even just with a text post or whatever, and have each other as support and feedback. Ellen said, my doctor is now sending me to an endocrinologist. So I'm not familiar with what that is or what that's for, so you'll have to send me some more information. Mickey said, your simple ideas have saved me. I can't do hard. Me either. No hard for me. No difficult. Ken said, you use Instapot a lot for keto meals. I don't cook. Like, I think the only two, I'm loving this weird lighting. I think the only two real things in my kitchen are a coffee pot and one skillet. I have a coffee pot and one skillet. So I don't own an Instapot or an air fryer or a chaffle maker, any of that stuff, because I really don't cook. All right, so pop more questions in. Just keep posting some questions. I have to go shower and get ready for this, for work. And Deborah said, can you quickly touch on that this is not a quick fix? Oh, for goodness sakes. I'm 8.5 years in. I'm a lifer. There is no quick fix. You know, like if you just use keto as a weight loss, you know, fast diet or whatever, then the minute you go off or consider it a quick fix and then quit, you're going to, if you go back to your old habits, you go back to your old body. That's always the case. This is a lifestyle change and the whole goal is I want to become the happiest, healthiest version of myself, mentally and physically. Not just to lose weight, but to gain muscle, gain strength, become a stronger person, be a happier person, be more confident, not have eating disorders, all of those things, whatever your things are, your package needs to change into a better package. And you have the potential and the opportunity to change that always. Ellen said, I love the weight loss of 55 pounds. I just need to eat less fatty foods. And why do you think that? What makes you feel like you need to eat less fatty foods? Because I think fatty foods are good. Like, I'm at my goal weight, but at 75 to 80% of my daily calories are in saturated fat. That's the good kind. So fatty meats, nut butter, cheesy eggs, avocado. And I don't intentionally like throw on the fat, like, oh, let's douse it in mayonnaise or add a pat of butter or do this or whatever. I just eat naturally fatty foods, whole foods that are naturally fatty. So explain to me why you feel like you need to eat less fatty foods. And pop that in the comments and I'll come back and answer you after I get showered and get ready and get work. No, not for cholesterol reasons. Because fat is not bad for cholesterol. So as long as you're staying in ketosis, you don't want to, that's not something to consider. Now, I'm not a doctor, and I think, are you the one that said you're going to a cholesterol specialist? So can you give me some more information on that, like why they're sending you there, why you're seeing that doctor specifically, and sliding is fun, why you're seeing that doctor specifically, and how long you've consistently been in ketosis, because that's the important thing. If you're eating keto off and on, high fat, then carbs and sugar, off and on, that would be the reason. But otherwise, if you're in ketosis consistently, depending on for how long, you shouldn't have any cholesterol problems. Krishna said, amen, sister, 11 years in on keto, and it is not a quick fix. It is a lifestyle gift you give yourself. Absolutely. Yes, it is. All right, I got to get to work, you guys, and I'm going to go eat now. So thank you again for being here. Thanks for having some time with me this morning, and kind of getting me through this or over this hump, because I was 3 to 4 hours, into the day from waking up and really struggling with feeling like not eating. So leave a comment, leave a question. Let's keep the discussion going. I'll be back.